Welcome once again to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. This is the time of the flex. This is Ben Fleck, and with me is...
Andrew Fleck. Greetings, everyone. Let's
And we're
fucking
going
do
over-
this shit.
Batfleck. Yes, the unused Batfleck concept art. We decided to split it up because we kind of really didn't want to do, the unused Suicide Squad concept art or anything like that.
Boring.
So we thought we would combine everything because Batfleck is the one Batman who never got a solo movie. He was always a supporting character in something else, unfortunately. So I thought we'd combine everything into one, so we have everything from Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, up through Justice League. We've gone over the Flash ones multiple times in the past, so you can look in the past episodes for that. And we have some concept art at the very end of the unmade Batfleck movie. So all that is in this episode for you guys.
For your viewing pleasure.
Indeed. So, we'll be covering... A lot of this will be on BVS. Some Suicide Squad stuff before the break, and then afterwards will be mostly on Justice League. So let's pull up what we have here. A lot of this was pulled up by our assistant Dan for basically from stuff on the art of BVS itself. So what we're looking at here is this nice shot of Batman, of course, and maybe digital in some ways, but we definitely didn't get the shot in the movie. It's almost like he's on a cathedral type of thing, too.
Yeah, he's way at the top. This could be digital, I think.
Yeah, most likely, I think. Moving further, we have this image from the concept art. We'll be going a little bit further into the individual suits in a bit, but this one I thought was interesting because it does look like you can kind of see the pupils of his eyes in this, but it's almost like he's wearing white contact lenses to sort of give the white eyes look. Everything else, though, it has the fat bat on there, but everything else kind of looks pretty close to what we got anyway.
This looks pretty much, This is BVS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And some preliminary sketches. I think this would likely be kind of an initial sketch or storyboard of him crashing through the window right before the warehouse sequence.
Yes.
So like I can see that because that's the main time where I can see him doing that silhouette. So,
is there a window crash in every movie?
It feels like it, doesn't it? Or skylight crash. Because like Batman. Well, let's go through it, right? Like 89, he comes through the ceiling in order to come down through. To save Vicky. I don't think there's one that he does, at least in Returns. Catwoman does crash through the greenhouse.
Okay.
Herself, but I don't really... People are going to kill me if I get this wrong, I think. But I don't think Batman actually crashes through.
Flay you alive.
And then Batman Forever, he comes once again through the skylight at the top during the Enigmatech party, and then Clooney does as well in the beginning to the museum. And then I don't... The bats crash through in Arkham in Batman Begins, but he himself, because like when he does the silhouette, he's just jumping from the top of the Arkham stairs to the bottom. He's not actually crashing through anything.
Yeah.
Well, he does crash through a window into the train in Batman Begins.
Oh yeah, so that
much
counts
smaller
though.
Window, but that counts, yes. And then Dark Knight. Trying to remember if he does actually crash through glass on that one. I might have to get back to you on everyone. That might be... I will say this, though. Starting from The Dark Knight Rises onward, with the exception of Suicide Squad, from Dark Knight Rises onward, we see Batman during the day.
Okay.
In certain scenes. Dark Knight, you kind of got it with the shot of him. It looks like in the early morning when he's like looking over the wreckage right after Rachel got blown up. But,
yeah.
Dark Knight Rises, you definitely got it during the day when he fights Bane. Then, starting with Batfleck, each Batfleck appearance, with the exception of Suicide Squad, where it was mainly a cameo, he has scenes in the daytime. So I know some people were thrown off by The Flash, being like, why is Batman during the daytime? I'm like, but he's been in the daytime for almost every movie since Dark Knight Rises. What are you talking about?
It's misplaced hate with everything else in the movie, I think. It's just what it kind of boils down to, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we get him during the day in the Knightmare Batman, right, in that day sequence.
Yeah.
Then skipping over into like both versions of Justice League have like him stepping out into the daylight in that final shot with the Justice League. And then, of course, the Snyder Cut also has him during the day as Knightmare Batman, right? And then Pattinson shows up during the day to help out at the very end. When he's rescuing everybody from the Riddler attack, he's carrying out the bodies and helping out the paramedics and stuff.
I would say those dawn shots, I classify dawn as being more day than it is night. So I would say all the dawn shots are also day.
Oh yeah, and also like even earlier, right? He's pretty much talking to Catwoman during the day. And the shot, the great shot, where he's like looking over the city and you just see his ears. So like that was there, and then of course the Flash. Like Batfleck's his only scene in the suit is during the day, and then Keaton has his final battle is during the day in the desert. So as well as the Siberia sequence. So it's stuff that we've seen a lot, starting from Dark Knight Rises onward. Might not really count the Dark Knight, but since that could maybe be interpreted differently, but I guess you could count Dark Knight actually as being the start of that. But yeah, Batfleck for sure.
I was just wondering about it seemed like they had done this in almost every movie, but I guess maybe not all of them. And also, like, if Reeves doesn't do it in the next one, it's not a big deal. If a director's like kind of already done it, you don't need to do it in every movie in your trilogy or whatever. So
yeah. Let's see. Moving forward, this is interesting. So this comes from the BVS Art of the Film book, and it almost has like a different feel to the drawing of Batman as well. I mean, I don't really get that neck. It's almost like he's snake-like in these drawings.
Yeah, this is like almost dreamscape. Like it would show up in like Arkham Asylum, the comic,
I was
right?
thinking that too. Yeah, the Dave McKean type. If we were to actually see Batman's face in that.
Yeah, like it's cool with nightmare sequences and shit. Not that nightmare sequence, but an actual regular nightmare sequences. Right. It's okay. I think it's actually really cool. I think, but yeah, big ass neck. I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely it's like that panther neck. This like times 20.
It's also like he's jutting his stomach forward a little bit in this one. Like it's like it's like this.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to show off anatomy. I guess it's just a artist trying to show off his anatomy. I think but that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But he's smaller too because Batfleck is a fucking dump truck or whatever you call it.
Right.
So yeah.
This is closer.
This is Batfleck. Look at this guy.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see kind of some of the early concepts on that, because it's one where it literally seems like Kevin Smith mentioned when he had seen it before most of the public, that it looked like it was from The Dark Knight Returns come to life, that huge Batman type of look, and it seems like that's just what they wanted from the beginning. But as we'll see with these concepts, like we have here, this is pretty much what we got. But as we'll start going down the concept, some of the earlier stuff, it wasn't necessarily like this all the time.
We've still never seen this cape kind of shit in the movie, right? He doesn't have the cape fully draped like over.
It was it never really looked like that for Batfleck.
This is a mandate. This is a mandate for Gunn and Muschietti. We need this in the DCU. This fucking pose, him being kind of brooding with the cape completely over like that. Don't you think?
Yeah, it has this classic image, right? I think it's just difficult from a physical perspective of how do you make a cape that can go basically do both. Do both what we see on the left and on the right. Be in the back when it's time for action shots, and then on the right be able to kind of drape over him like that. It's one thing in a comic where you can just draw whatever the fuck you want, but
I don't know how they'll figure it out. Maybe CG in some parts. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to, just don't have the scene with him like pulling it back. Just have that whole scene with it draped forward the whole time. Right?
Yeah. I think that's the best solution, especially if it's like on the rooftop talking to Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really need him looking like he does on the left. He can just look like he does on the right with the cape draped over him.
Yeah. And then all the other action shots are more like the regular one where it's back. Yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah, I think they attempted it too in Batman Begins, where he's talking to Rachel in the Batcave, and he kind of has the cape, but it's like you can actually kind of physically see him, that he's pulling it forward.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
It is there, but it's kind of like, it's not the same as what we see here. It's less operatic and more kind of just, I mean, it just looks like Bale's pulling the cape forward to create that effect rather than it naturally sitting there.
So they tried it.
Guess you can give them props for trying. Yeah.
This suit was cool though, man.
hmm This is, we pretty much get the Batfleck cowl here from these sculpts. He still looks kind of smaller on the left as well compared to the actual suit.
Yeah.
But I think they're just playing around with different stuff, and you can kind of see maybe the evolution of different insignias that they were playing around with in the back, right? Like you see
Oh
taller
yeah.
ears
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
insignia in the back, but still variations of the fat bat, as people call
It's funny how this guy is small compared to Batfleck.
it. Right.
This is small.
Yes, I know. Let's see. Moving forward, we got some concept art of Bruce Wayne. So we've got, of course, Ben Affleck's face on top of, Bruce wearing a lot of black. This is a little close to what he wore in the movie. Not as the movie's a little bit more varied in the colors. It's more of like a gray coat that he walks around in, around in Wayne Manor, the ruins of Wayne Manor. But thought it was worth, highlighting these. And we got this is an interesting shot too. We have Alfred. Jeremy Irons is Alfred, looking familiar in the concept art, but this look with the hat I don't think is in the movie at all. I don't remember this. So this could be a costume test or something. Or another scene that's not in the Ultimate Edition. But I'm inclined to think it was a costume test, since I don't know what other context Alfred would be wearing this outfit in the movie.
I think it's just a costume test.
Yeah.
He came in for a fitting and they just took pictures. I've been a part of many of those.
Yeah.
So it just
you
happens.
Get to see the development of it. And, people be like, oh, like maybe this looks a little... They're just like, it doesn't really fit the look of what we're going for in, say... it might have been a costume test for the scene where he goes to, to visit Bruce when he's in that, like, mausoleum. And Bruce does the whole, like, they were hunters speech. Like, maybe this is what they were initially thinking he would look like, and they're like, yeah, let's remove the hat. He looks a little too, like, private detective-ish. And they went from there.
Very dapper, though. So, more inside knowledge. Like, whenever they come in for a fitting, generally, I mean, these days, the director's not even there. The producers aren't there. Like, fucking nobody's there, dude. Like, it's just the actor that came in for the fitting. So you got to get photos. You got to get good photos of them in this shit to send to everybody.
Right. And then it gets approved. The director doesn't have to be there to look at photos that they're going to get later anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, just email out the photos, get the approval. Okay, good. No more fittings. Moving on. That's how it goes, basically.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
We're moving into the Batcave with this quote here from Snyder saying that it was always a dream of his to finally be in the Batcave for real. And so, they created their own with this one. This is pretty much, what they envisioned is what we got here with this almost like corporate warehouse inside of a Batcave sort of feel to it is how I sort of see it.
It's an interesting idea, but it's not what I would do. I feel like it's cool. It's better than what Nolan did
with the Dark Knight, at least.
Yeah,
that bunker.
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess it depends on where he is in his career, but I would have it like I'd have it like a mix. I know we're such a shill for this shit, but like BTAS mixed with like Batman '89 Cave. That would be what I would just fucking copy that shit. With, of course,
updated. Flash was fantastic too.
Updated tech, yeah. What makes it? Yeah, again, that was Muschietti. Kind of was. We were on the long. I feel like I was on the same, thinking along the same lines as him when it came to that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, my first reaction to this Batcave in the trailer was initially just thinking it was like the basement of Wayne Tower. I didn't think it was the Batcave until like the more stuff came out. I'm like, oh. Okay. I finally saw the cave outcropping and all that stuff. And I think it's just, it's like you said, it's not quite how I would envision it. And maybe it's just because it kind of seems a little small, it's not
right.
I miss the caverns, like the abyss, the cliffs and stuff that first did in '89 that carried over to BTAS and stuff. So when you don't have it, it always kind of feels a little just tiny.
It looks like, like the office building segments look like just not in the right vibe for Batman. Like if he was walking around in that like fluorescent lighting there, I guess we've had that in Dark Knight, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
just the regular cave is better, I think.
Yeah, like this would make sense maybe as like kind of another version of the Bat Bunker in the Dark Knight. Like if Nolan did this in the Dark Knight, I'd be like, okay, still not my favorite, but like it looks better than what we ended up with.
Yeah.
for that quote unquote cave. But as the Batcave, I'm like, especially considering how comic accurate the Batfleck suit is, it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah. Different preliminary sketches of the Batcave over here is what it looks like.
Pretty
Uh,
rough.
Yeah, very rough on that. But I always like the detail of the fact that like a lot of the stuff was hanging upside down to sort of evoke the feeling of being a bat in there. And I think it also kind of is to make up for the fact that we don't ever really see. I don't remember seeing any bats in the cave in the same way that we saw with other versions. So
Oh man.
maybe that's why.
Yeah.
This is a cool look of the armory that I don't think we got to see in any of the movies. We do see a
Right.
shotgun too, right here on the on the wall here.
Oh man.
But they're good. Look, obviously, in this one, he does use guns on the vehicles. He does commandeer one of the the criminals' guns, but he also has a gun that shoots out like a tracking thing. That's kind of evoking the imagery from The Dark Knight Returns, where it looks like Batman's got a big ass gun, but it's actually like the purpose is meant to be something else rather than what you think it's for.
It's like an EMP blast, which is interesting. Yeah, all those like other like guns that aren't really guns. It's cool. I mean, at least it keeps it in with the character.
Mhm.
And even
Yeah.
like, I mean, like a trank gun. Do you think that'd be okay for Batman? I mean,
Yeah, he'd be okay with that.
it's probably okay, right? Yeah.
So moving forward, we got concept art of what looks like the infirmary, which I don't remember seeing, but also the Robin suit. You know, the broken up Robin suit with Joker's message on it. That sort of was like cryptically seated there. Again, like I know that with this and stuff like the Keaton bat suits in the Vault in the Flash, people like want more of that story that we just never got. But it was kind of cool that we finally got to see this version or this imagery brought to life in BVS.
It was very cool imagery. We just never got anything from it.
Yeah, it was an Easter egg for the fans, but this doesn't really, and hints towards like his mindset, I guess, at the time. But that's about it wasn't really that much explored. I know that they wanted to explore more of it in Snyder's plans moving forward, but you just kind of imagine some version of a death in the family happened.
Yeah, it seemed like that. Yeah.
More Batcave stuff. Batman actually standing in the Batcave here, and Bruce now inside sort of the computer area. We can kind of see the mech suit, the armored suit in development on the right, and then a little closer look at his sort of crime lab area on the bottom here.
Okay.
It says chemical analysis station over here. So adding back the element of Bruce kind of having that science knowledge, which we kind of didn't really have as much of in the Dark Knight trilogy, since we kind of had Morgan Freeman to take care of that stuff. But they deliberately made sure to say like, hey, like this is one where Bruce and Alfred are the ones who create the tech.
Right.
Another look here at the same station, a utility sink.
They spell utility wrong?
Yeah, there's only one I.
Utility.
The same person who wrote Heist in Dark Knight Rises worked on this.
Dude, this movie is just oh no, it's a different movie, never mind. But yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Batman in the 2010s was not great with spell check, I guess.
Something's going on there, man. I mean, yeah, just use spell check, dude. I don't know what's going on.
At least in this, right? Like it's not something we saw in the movie. It's something you get in this book.
Yeah.
That's not as like widely seen.
These things I'm just that type of personality. Like if I see a spelling error, it just jumps right out at me.
Yeah, I know. Same here.
I think I saw this before. I saw utility before I even saw the pictures on the page. I'm now looking at the pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like I have less to say about this kind of stuff than suits and vehicles.
I hear you. Yeah, because at a certain point, it's like, well, like, all right, it's a computer screen.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Moving
I mean,
on. What does the Batmobile look like?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. Like again, I'm just not like an architecture dude. I mean, yeah, I want the gothic shit with Batman, and I want, all that kind of like Batman aesthetic. But With this, it's just like, yeah, sure, he's walking around in this like, sterile lab looking place. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. It's cool that there is a lab too.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So,
and there's a utility sink.
Yes. All right, to the Batmobile, since this is something we care a lot more about.
Yeah.
Deborah Snyder has a quote here, feeling like they're intimidated by having to outdo or top vehicles from the past, and quote unquote they managed to top it. Well, I think you and I disagree, but I mean, we would still. I think we did rank this one over the Tumbler at least the Batmobile.
I think, yeah, design wise, yeah, I think it's a little bit better. It's still a little big. I know he wants a Frank Miller tank kind of thing, but it was just like, and everybody was saying the same thing. It was like, oh, it's like the Tumbler, but mixed with Burton. Yeah, that was like, I'm sure that was kind of how what he was thinking. And then we got really pared down for the Batman, which was a welcome change. Yeah, I felt like, and again, like this. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to tell on this one if I probably might have been gifted this and been okay with it as a kid if I was a kid at this time, but for a toy. But I don't know, man. It's okay.
I think it's great if this is your first Batmobile.
Yeah.
But since we've seen the iconic '89 one, we've seen the '66 one. It's just. Again, I think it's the design itself is better than the Tumbler because it's welcome that it looks more Batmobile like.
Yeah.
But also was sort of like, well, okay, I guess it's cool. Was sort of the reaction as opposed to like, oh my god, that's amazing. So that's kind of, I mean, that's how we feel about that. I know this Batmobile does have its fans, but I felt like it didn't quite have nearly as memorable of a showcase compared to either its predecessor or its successor. With those car chases.
That is true. It's kind of overshadowed in a sandwich of excellent Batmobile sequences.
Not like it never had a sequence. It did in both, BVS and Justice League. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't have the same impact, I feel.
Isn't that weird? Maybe Snyder is better at like martial arts action. Like that's something I've always noticed. He's very good at noticing body movement and the dynamics of body movement, whether it's in martial arts or whatever the fuck they're doing in 300 pancration, the ancient Greek martial art. He's so good at that, and I don't know. I never thought about that. Like, I mean, the warehouse scene, look at it. Incredible.
Of course, yeah.
But then does he have like other vehicle scenes that we can draw upon? Maybe he's not, maybe he needs to bone up on the vehicle stuff. He needs to listen to us, obviously.
Right.
Because Man of Steel 2, that's all like body. It's all like human figures, Superman flying and shit, which was awesome.
Yeah, you're right. It's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought about that.
It's a different beast, man. It's a different, way to map out action. Obviously, it's martial arts and vehicle action is just a different deal altogether.
Yeah, definitely. Some early designs here, some early like sketches, really rough sketches that we see here, and a quote here about it being functional and tough and powerful. So it looks like Mike Justice, great name, was the stunt driver for this and was commenting on this. So it's cool to see the evolution of this, and we kind of see an interesting like thinner design that almost looks a little similar to what we were looking at for the the Akira bike.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Bat bike that they almost did for the Flash too. So it feels like the DNA of that has been there from the beginning, even if it didn't quite ever translate to the big screen. At least not yet.
It got so beefy.
Yeah, exactly. And then more like early designs that we see here. It looks slightly different. Looks slightly different from what we got in the movie, but getting closer to the DNA of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving on to the Batwings. The Batwing itself, now this is interesting. You can see an early sketch at the top. Does not have like the open space thing that I know that you're not a fan of. It looks closer. It looks to me like a Klingon bird of prey.
It does, yeah. That's interesting. I would like it more than what we got, I guess, for sure.
Yeah, that would have been interesting for sure. Again, I was just sort of welcoming the fact that this was much better than the Bat from Dark Knight Rises. That I was willing to take anything.
Like a fucking flying rock.
Yep.
Fucking that. I don't even know which one's worse, man. To be honest with you,
I still feel like this is more Bat-like though.
to me, look, dude. I'm not, fucking goddamn it. If any of the designers are out there listening to this, you guys are designing for big movies, and we're just jackasses on the internet. I have to say it every episode because it might be your first episode. So, and you're probably getting residuals and shit. We're not even worth your time. But I'm just saying. So I don't know. It's just not for me. It's sometimes I'm just like what's going on here, man? But it's just not my
right. And a lot of times
design.
they're doing it in the service of like what the director's asking for, rather
Yeah.
than like, okay, well, if you want this, is this what you're looking for, or is that what you're looking for? It might not necessarily be, if they had carte blanche, how they would design the Batwing. Like the Batcycle designs, I've seen enough that I feel like the guy who designed it, Ed Natividad, was basically doing what the director had asked him, but his own ideas weren't necessarily what translated it on the big screen. It was his idea of what the director wanted. So can't
for
always
sure
blame, that they're just kind of doing what the director asked, just like costume designers are and production designers and everything else. But if they had carte blanche over it, doesn't necessarily mean that this would be what they would pick.
You gotta. That's where the director falls in. It's like you gotta have the through line. You have to have consistency. You have to have the departments talking to each other and shit, or you'll have like costumes that don't fit the vehicles and it'd be way worse than even the worst movies that are out there.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of where the worth of the director, not just that, but that's a big part of it. You need the one guy or woman at the top. So
for sure.
Yeah, for the vision. But I'm not going to say which ones, but there's just some times where I just like, it's kind of facepalm moment. Like who would like this? Where's the fun in this? Where's the fun in this fucking design? It's like, it just kills me sometimes.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a damaged Batwing. I guess this would be during the Doomsday sequence, because that's really the only time that it gets destroyed. So there's not much to go off of in seeing this, but it's kind of just cool to see an original, like the concept art of it getting destroyed, presumably during that Doomsday sequence.
Battle damage always good.
And then
no problem with that.
Yeah, and then here's the one that made it in the movie.
Nope.
Further.
Dude, you don't like this, right? It's terrible.
I don't think it's... Again, I'll take it over the Bat, but
right.
I don't like it. Like, again, the Flash Batwing is the best Batwing since 89.
Like I agree with that.
Better. And even then, Forever was better than what we got from Nolan or Snyder. The Forever Batwing. Even with all the lights and shit. Like, because at least still look like a bat.
Right.
It still had the bat shape. I don't know why we have to still be like, oh, no, like, we can't make it look too comic booky type of era.
This is like... I would accept this in like a Blade Runner maybe, or...
Yeah.
Dune even. I don't know. Like more high concept sci-fi stuff. But just I don't know.
It's a Kryptonian ship,
Yeah, like a random one or whatever. That would be better than this. I don't know. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Moving further, we have Knightmare Batman, which I know is also not really your thing.
I mean, this image is cool.
It's got a ton of bullets.
He's got all the fucking bullets. Are they all trank darts or what? But it's also like
it's Knightmare Batman. He's got bullets.
I will say this. I don't love the trench coat as much as everybody else does, but there is something very fun and comic booky about it, which I actually do appreciate. And I think it's a worthy variant to his, his costume doesn't change quite that much. So and it shows that Snyder's like having fun with this. So even though it's not my favorite thing in the world, I really get it though. I get why they did it, and it's cool. It's fine. Not a problem. And the toys, I'm sure it was, that's cool. It's a little cool variant. It's not my favorite thing ever, but I totally understand.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like an alternate thing. It's not. If he was wearing that through the whole movie, it'd be kind of like, I don't know, guys.
It isn't a Knightmare sequence, so.
Yeah, it's specifically supposed to be like, this is an alternate future where we're heading that, is teasing what, Justice League 3 is going to be.
Yeah, he's shooting demons, so it's like, I guess we'll give Snyder the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Yeah, but he's also shooting people.
Oh, that
as
is
the
true.
Superman soldiers.
Should have just kept it to the demons. That'd be cool, dude.
Yeah.
Some of that parademon design, I
Mhm.
think in the Zack Snyder Justice League or something. God, dude, that shit was awesome. We have to pull that up later or something, maybe in a Patreon. But I remember thinking that fucking design fucking rules.
Yeah.
10 out of
'cause they
10.
look scary. Yeah.
They look
They're
way
scary.
scary.
They look great. Yeah.
Way scary, way fun, like fun, scary. It was cool.
yeah.
I like that design a lot.
More Knightmare Batman. They really like this like bandolier thing that they put in the movie with him like just strapped. And I think at a certain point it's like, okay, well, how immobile do you want him to be? on this one thing, if like the Batsuit has been restrictive, obviously, as famously seen in the Keaton movies, but it's I don't know, just him walking around with all that stuff.
So it's been a while since I've seen it. I've actually probably only seen this movie once, dude, in the theater. But he does he like do commando shit like Arnold Commando or like T2? Remember, like
where he's just like firing out into people. Yeah,
James Cameron was always really good at like really feeling the power of the gun, like putting the fucking shotgun in the alien's fucking mouth, and like if and then the fucking all the gunshots like blowing apart the fucking T-1000 and T2, like just really good at like boom, that fucking really good gun action, man. Like,
right.
But John Woo's got his own thing too. He was always good at that. But like, yeah, I wish that we got a little bit of that with the parademons. Like, if we're gonna have Batman shoot at fucking parademons, let's do some shit like that.
I think
make him bleed green.
Mm-hmm.
Make him bleed green, so we still have the PG-13 rating, maybe. But you said we saw it with a Batmobile more.
Yeah, I'd say so. When he's shooting at them, when he gets out of the flying fox later in Justice League.
Right.
I think that's where we got it. But like the Knightmare sequence, the gun stuff was just, okay. He shot a few guys. He just has a handgun and shit. In the very beginning of that, so it's whatever. I thought in terms of the actual gun action.
Okay.
That. Again, like the whole Knightmare sequence is like it's an interesting idea. It sort of just dropped randomly in the middle of the movie for me.
Right, and you don't know what's going on with Superman, right? Like you don't really know.
And like it's meant to unnerve you. I get it. It's supposed to feed into his motivation to take down Superman, but I'm just like, well, again, like you as the writer, the director, you are God in this sense, and so like you get to control whether or not he even needs to see this post-apocalyptic nightmare for the context of the story. I get that it's supposed to set up something several movies later, but to me, I'm just like, did we need this on top of the original, Battle of Metropolis stuff, on top of his general paranoia on Superman, on top of like all the other things that they've been building up,
Right.
And then this other one where it does incorporate, the goggles that he wears in the very beginning of the Knightmare sequence, but then like brings up, and now he's wearing it, and also it looks like he's got a little bit of a stash going on here too.
5 o'clock shadow. They're playing around with it, man.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been kind of funny if it wasn't even just like a full beard. He just had a stash. That kind of would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. It would have been kind of funny. It would have probably taken people out of the theater, out of the movie. But man, that's funny as hell, though. Yeah. Fun. People might have thought it was fucking actually the other Batman, though, right? Earth 2. If it was with the stash or no? No, he doesn't have a stash, I guess, does he?
Wait, who has a stash?
Thomas Wayne.
Well, okay, yeah, but not when he's a Batman.
Right, not when he's Batman. Yeah.
That'd be fun though. So what we have is some of the concept art of the battle with Superman and the armored suit that we see here, which was very faithfully rendered from The Dark Knight Returns. We've got Batfleck swinging around Superman in the wreckage, just like what we got in the movie.
Yeah, those scenes were cool. That was cool.
This was interesting to me because we looked at this a while back when we were looking at some of the unused BVS ideas, and this is even more broken up, armored, like you'd see a lot more of Bruce underneath, and it also looks like he's got gray hair here to sort of reflect the Dark Knight Returns Batman, and also probably to reflect that, at one point they were courting Josh Brolin to be the Batman for this.
Oh, yeah.
Could be that's what they were thinking too at this time. But I think most likely it was because of the Dark Knight Returns thing. He's got gray, white hair and that anyway. So they were just sort of reflecting that.
Yeah.
And then we have this other image too. This is from Vance Kovacs of the Armored Batsuit. Again, like it's a little different. We don't really get to see the mouth area on here.
I do think that's cool.
Yeah.
It makes him look pretty evil.
Yeah. He's got a red visor and shit. You got a different bat. Got a bat insignia here, and he's got a giant ass gun.
Of course. Well, he is trying to fucking murk the shit out of Superman.
I guess he's got a kryptonite bullet or something, but that's what we got for this. A lot of what we have, what we're going to see is from Vance Kovacs as well. So we have this and Superman, whose suit is really fucked up here. You can actually see, the rips in it and the skin underneath, and he's literally kicking off the helmet off of Bruce here.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the Doomsday fight with the Trinity, and a nice ass shot of Doomsday for all
that butt.
Yeah. No spikes on Doomsday. It just looks like a giant naked man they're attacking here.
You sure that isn't Nightwing's dad?
John Grayson.
Oh man.
It's become a giant, and now Batman is now on top of Doomsday's head as well, which is interesting.
Do you think that they didn't really showcase the more you attack him, the crazier, the more spikes come out of him kind of thing about Doomsday? I felt like it's there, but I don't know. It just wasn't it gets lost in the action or something.
Could be because there's so much going on. I think it was very well illustrated in the original comic because they were building up how big of a threat he was by having him take out the Justice League. And then you got to see him getting worse and worse and look even more fucked up and even more monstrous. That you're just oh, Superman has to stop this guy.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's the story's different. Here's this monster that Lex has created. Superman's having trouble fighting him. This nuke doesn't work. And Batman and Wonder Woman come in. It's more about how they all come together to fight this thing rather than how big of a menace it is that it requires Superman to kill it, which is also an element here, but it's a secondary element. So maybe.
Yeah.
And then this is from the death of Superman as well. You've got a dead Doomsday right next to Batman, but he doesn't care because he's bringing down Superman's body to Lois and to Wonder Woman here. And it looks like a military man too.
That's
who was not in the movie.
Steve.
Steve Trevor brought back to life. Yes.
Steve Trevor again.
Yes. All right, so here's some interesting stuff. So these are some other Batsuit concepts by Jerad Marantz, and this is what I was talking about earlier in terms of not everything that they put in here was just the Dark Knight Returns type of Batsuit. This is a more armored up looking Batsuit that they had here, and I believe the face model on this is not Ben Affleck actually, but actually Kevin Porter, the Batman of several Batman fan films from Bat in the Sun, Dying is Easy. And it has an upcoming sequel, so it's kind of cool that they sort of used his face in this.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, you have to have the fat bat, I think, for consistency. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, the bat insignia itself kind of looks a little Batman Beyondish to me as well.
Right. Yeah.
Somewhat thin. Yeah. But I'm glad they didn't really go in this direction. We already had a lot of segmented armor for the Bale version, so I was glad that they went with what they went with. Obviously, something a lot more comic accurate. And it was interesting to see the comments of people who were so used to Bale's costume that they didn't really like the black and gray on Affleck. And of course, I was just like, "The fuck you talking about?"
Yeah.
From the comics come to life.
Yeah, I know. You were sucking Snyder's dick that day.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much.
This is amazing. No, I mean, it was probably to this day the happiest I've ever been in terms of the first look at a costume, in terms of first look of a Batsuit. Because I as I covered in the Batman Begins one, I was a little disappointed when I saw the Bale's first one because I was just like, oh, they went with black rubber again, and it kind of just. Even though I love that for the 90s movies, I just thought that they would go in a different direction that was a little bit more comic accurate, a little bit closer to what we would end up seeing. with Affleck. So like I was a little disappointed in that, and then definitely disappointed with the Dark Knight one, which we've covered before, and then with the Pattinson one, I was just like, okay, they went with like the urban armor realistic shit again, and I still like it better than the Dark Knight suit, but it's just also not really one of my favorites. So this
Yeah,
is one I was the most happy with.
I think that they really gave that chest symbol kind of short shrift on the Pattinson one. Like, it doesn't even have ears. I know it's like it's a usable thing and all that, but I don't know, man. You need the bat ears. And the red lighting and the video that they did was cool with the music and really intense, broody as hell, which I thought that was cool. But as far as the design of the suit, yeah, I don't know, dude. It wasn't like the best. I didn't hate it either. It was it's cool. I like the movie. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I also kind of wish that like they did the video and then like a production like full photo reveal, because like we didn't really get much in the look. It's just like, okay, it looks cool in the cowl, but it was everything from the chest up, and then we didn't really get to see kind of what the suit looked like until they leaked out those set pictures of the final sequence on the Batcycle, and people were just
oh
like,
right,
because of what it looked like on set. Now it still looked better than the movie, but they could have done themselves some favors and released some of the photos that they had inevitably taken of him at that time.
Do you think that's still Batman Noel, like finding its way into movies?
Yeah, I think there's
right.
There's elements of it, for sure in there. I think it's Noel mixed with, just kind of the realism aesthetic and a little bit of the Adam West, in the way that the cowl's nose was done.
Yeah. Which is very interesting. I wouldn't have thought they would have gone back to that, but it's cool though. I liked it, and it does help him, I think, to emote when he's emoting as Batman, because he does spend, like you said, right? It's the most time as Batman in a movie.
Yeah, and they deliberately did not have like the furrowed brow, like they deliberately didn't try to put a facial expression to
that's good.
The cowl itself, so that Pattinson's acting would come through, which like we didn't realize how effective that could be really until we saw it.
Dude, so good. He's that scene real quick. That scene where it feels like the Riddler is going to out him.
Yeah.
And it's cutting to Pattinson not saying anything, just brooding and just kind of, you can tell in his inner monologue, like, oh fuck, he knows. Like that emoting in the cowl, I thought was so good. Like there's Pattinson really doing his job right here. Here we are, I can see why you were cast. I didn't really have any doubts anyway, but it was very cool. But yeah, I like, if Matt Reeves or Mattson Tomlin, if you ever listen to this, man, I would keep the same ratio, dude. I want to see like so much more Batman than Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne is cool, but Batman's just a lot cooler,
Right.
Keep it up. I mean, of course, I know you want to have Bruce Wayne have an arc and stuff, but it was outside of the detective stuff. It was really a breath of fresh air to have.
Quite suit that much.
Have quite so much Batman, which is so great, great.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
and to be able to see something like that through the performance of the cowl, not to knock the previous actors, but like it's just a sense of like the range of different emotions under the cowl. Because like again, like when I was I'm not Affleck or Pattinson, but I did do the table read Tuesdays as the voice of Batman, and that gave me a chance to like sort of see this from an actor's perspective for a very short period of time, not nearly as much as anyone else. But I found that like playing Batman really isn't that hard, in the sense that like a lot of times you're really pissed off or you're giving a lot of exposition.
Right.
It's either like, give me the gun, Joker, or it's like giving information on like telling Commissioner Gordon like where Joker's going to strike next. Like that's pretty much all it is. But Bruce Wayne is the tough role, and it's because of the vulnerability and how much he's hiding and stuff. And what I think was interesting about the way that they had Pattinson do Batman was you had that vulnerability while he was in the cowl, not just when he was.
Yes, that's really important, I think, for sure.
So you can kind of see how like the complicated range of emotion that would normally be reserved for the Bruce Wayne scenes could still find their way into Batman stuff, so that it wouldn't feel like Batman was one note. Which he wouldn't anyway, because I wouldn't say that Batman's one note in the other movies, but like if it was just him and all he was just angry and just giving exposition and just fighting people, at a certain point you're just like, okay, I get it, But the fact that he could do that while also, be falling for Catwoman, while also be, afraid for Alfred, or afraid that Riddler's going to out him, or showing appreciation to Gordon, like all these different things, this range of stuff that just was not as apparent in like earlier versions, or was apparent in very small ways. So,
it was great. More of that, Reeves, for sure. I mean, when he's trying to figure out who Clayface is, it's like 80% Batman, dude. That's 20% Bruce Wayne.
Yes,
that's really what we need.
So, with these concepts, again, more armored stuff. Yeah, I'm just not a fan, of this much.
Overdone, man.
Look at those shoulders, or shoulder blades, or the traps, really. Like, it's ridiculous. This is like worse than, it's like Injustice Batman. I'm just like, guys, really?
This is
how much we're gonna go.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I brought it back in the day, like with the Bay Transformers, just way over designed, way too much. Yeah. You're doing too much, and everybody kind of since Bay has really softened those designs and made them more cartoony, which has been great. And this feels like kind of Bay Transformer-y to me, like just too much, just way too much.
Yeah, totally. This is a breath of fresh air. This is the one that we went with.
Yeah.
Even though the insignia is a little different on the one on the right.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it's like part of it got cut off too. When you look at the center part, like that point isn't there. It's just sort of flattened out. So thank God they went with what they went with.
The left is way better.
Yeah, like some people are not fans of the fat bat, but to me, I'm just like, it's the Dark Knight Returns. It's not the exact insignia as Dark Knight Returns, but I'm just like, it's the Dark Knight Returns aesthetic, guys. Like,
I like it. I think it's cool. Plus, it's like you could call it fat bat or swole bat. I think it's like
right.
it's the bigness of the fat bat matches the bigness of Ben Affleck. So
yeah,
it just all ties in to me.
Yeah, and I was appreciative of we get to finally see the bat insignia stand out from the rest of the costume, which we hadn't seen, frankly, since Batman Forever. Because like Clooney's was just all black on black. Bale's was like the same thing. Like, it was all black and black on black. I'm just like, what's the point of the chest, of that being on the chest and nobody can see it? And here it's just like, all right, now it's a big fat ass bat in black on top of a gray suit. You can't miss it. Maybe it's overcompensating, but I'm just like, we needed that. We needed some version of this at this point.
It makes sense to me. I mean, it's like you said it was the best Batsuit, and I think I probably agree.
Yeah, or at least the most accurate. Because I do, like, in my heart, I still love the 89 one for Keaton. And if you were to ask me about individual components, like the cowl, I'd be like, well, I like the Keaton cowl better. Utility belt. Well, I like the utility belt better.
Right.
But, like, in terms of, like, bringing the comic book to life, in terms of direct translation, I'm like, well, it still hasn't been beaten. And maybe it never will. We'll see. I don't know what the Brave and the Bold suit will look like, but considering what the Batfleck suit looked like in the Brave and the Bold, in the Flash, I don't know.
Well, we got a whole new regime coming up, so
I know
it'll be fine.
Battle damage Batman here. This is the cloth over the armor look. As we
never got this in the movie though, right?
No, not this damaged.
I'd never thought about this before you brought it up to me in episodes years ago. At this point, but it really is the right move because you get everything. You get the clean design, you get the armor underneath, and you can reveal your segmentation if you want with the battle damage, and it makes a kind of a stark contrast as soon as you see it rip, right? So it's not, I don't know why they haven't done this yet.
Muschetti, get on this shit.
If only, dude. They need to do this and the Kaneda bike from Akira.
And the cape thing.
And the cape. And the cape thing. And we're halfway there.
Just watch the show. Just follow everything we tell you and you'll be successful.
Listen to us, jackasses on the internet.
Yes. More of that cape thing too.
Here we go. This is cool, dude. Like it's, with the light like this too, it's very cool.
Yeah, totally. These look like different ways of looking at the cape, how it's unfurled. Don't really have a lot to say about that, but it's cool that they were thinking about that, of how like how's it gonna look when his cape's outstretched and he's like, you know, crashing through the windows.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, yeah, whatever. One's more scuffed up, but that's it.
Yeah. Let's see more. Yeah, more of this. Okay, this is from Michael Wilkinson, and who's the costume designer. Again, back to the armored look, and could just be me, but Batman kind of looks like Carl Urban on the left.
Yeah. This is for BVS?
This is still for BVS, yeah.
So this is maybe before Batfleck was cast?
Potentially, yeah, potentially when they were still like in the script stage and, you know, pre-production, and they weren't sure who was going to be cast and stuff.
Yeah, it does look like Carl Urban. These are okay. I don't hate them. They remind me of the Kenner toys for some reason. That the silver
legs
one
remind me of Bale's.
Yeah. It's fine. You know, I think it's before they even have the Fat Bat, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, because we don't see that.
Before Snyder was like, fuck it, let's just go full Miller.
Yeah.
Give me the
Which
full
was the
Miller.
right call. Yeah, because, again, Bale had just finished up, so, like, anything that resembled that, I think, would always be sort of seen as, they're just trying to copy that. They're just, like, recapturing that, whereas I'm just like, no, like, this is Zack Snyder. He, like, his costume designs, for the most part, were just so on point when it came to, like, bringing the comic book characters to life. So I can see him reject these and all the armored stuff because he really just wanted to capture the Dark Knight Returns, bring that, you know, black and gray aesthetic, you know, that two-toned look to life finally that we hadn't gotten in years. So that was good. Now we've got so some quick Suicide Squad stuff. We don't have a ton, but before the break, some quick Suicide Squad stuff. This is from 2014. Ed Natividad has this sequence that I don't know was ever in the script, but it's Batman catching Joker in the Batmobile.
I mean, it's
kind of weird,
kind of silly looking, but it's whatever.
I imagine some version of this was in a script, because why would there be three concept arts of something like this? You know, like this is another one that we have here where he's in the seat. He's not reading a book this time. He's just kind of doing the Mr. Burns thing with his hands. And then the third one is him looking like he's playing around with the controls as Batman is in the Batman is kind of to the side there.
Okay.
So who knows where this comes from, but this is from Ed Natividad, who again went on to also work on The Flash, on the many different concepts of the Batcycles. You can check those out in our past episodes on The Flash and keeping up with the concept art here. But one really interesting thing from Ed, before we go to the break, is the fact that one of the concept art things that he did for this movie featured a character who was not in the Suicide Squad movie, which was a Scarecrow.
Sick.
Now this, I think, would have been really interesting and really cool, considering that we've never really gotten to see Scarecrow on the big screen in a full-on costume like this. It was always just Cillian Murphy with a bag over his head, and that was about it. You know? So for 2 out of the 3 movies, he didn't even wear the bag in Rises. So like to finally
true.
To see the burlap extend past the neck, you know, he has the actual hat here.
Not my diagnosis. That's all he says in Rises. Or no, Dark Knight.
Yeah, in the Dark Knight after he's caught. And then he's got this little scythe thing in his hands. So pretty cool. Don't know where this would have come in. I don't know if Scarecrow was actually in the scripts for Suicide Squad, or if like he was just gonna have a cameo in Arkham or something like that. But it is cool to look at this and kind of consider this to be, Batfleck's Scarecrow.
Yeah, it's cool. He's one of the best villains. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool.
All right. I think so too. So it's a shame we never really got to see it, but hopefully we'll get to see some version of Scarecrow soon, whether that's the Reeves verse or Muschietti and Brave and the Bold, but some version, because I think he's overdue for a comeback.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been 2005. Yeah, it's been a long time now. Yeah. It'll be over 20 years by the time he comes out again.
Yeah, and even if we count the cameo in Dark Knight Rises, that was still 11 years ago.
Yeah, God, I can't believe it.
So yeah, after the break, we'll go over Justice League and the Batfleck movie that was never made. But till then, we'll see you after the break. Welcome everyone to the August announcements. We have a lot to share with you coming up this month. So let's get to it. As you know, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We use the money for this towards, our recording space at StreamYard that we've seen here in all our episodes, our server, our website, our assistant, Dan Yamat, who does all the visuals and thumbnails for us. So we are currently sitting at a little less than $200 a month right now. We'd love to get to $300 a month, which would cover everything for us from month to month. If more people join the Patreon, and we reach $300 a month in Patreon, we will celebrate that by covering one of our most requested episodes, Superman Lives, which would have been directed by Tim Burton and starring, as we see, Nicolas Cage. So that is our goal, to hit $300 a month on Patreon. You can help us get there by joining any of the Patreon tiers at patreon.com/superherostuffpod and, help us out a little over that.
It'll be an absolute Superman Lives bonanza multi-parter.
Oh, yes.
So, you
So
get your money's worth. Yeah,
Yes.
don't worry. We'll cover the shit out of it. We
Yes.
just want to get to that new goal.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, everyone who's already part of the Patreon as well. In the meantime, some upcoming stuff that you guys might want to be on the lookout for. I will have a guest appearance this month on the podcast Flashbacks, a Flash rewatch podcast from one of our friends and Patreon patrons, Alex Ramsey. And we're going to discuss the Man in the Yellow Suit episode from Season 1, which was the very first appearance of the Reverse Flash on the CW show, at least the Reverse Flash in costume, since he was already kind of part of the show before that. But yes, that'll be what we cover, and I'll likely be on Alex's Night of the Batman podcast at some point as well, but I'll let you guys know when it comes to
All right.
So, moving forward, you've heard about this before, but we'll repeat again. We are executive producers and co-stars in an award-winning independent short film by Jeffrey Scott Richards. You can support the film over at the GoFundMe link that will be in the description below, as well as what's on screen. But you can also watch it now at the Multi-Dimension Independent Film Festival website. That link will also be in the description, but you can check it out. It features pretty much us in an exclusive recording. It is a superhero stuff you should know episode we recorded for the movie, in which we talk about Derek Magnum, who in the short is a director of comic book movies. So we talk about Derek in that, and kind of serve as the narrator and exposition through a superhero stuff you should know episode. So a great use of us, I think, personally. So check that out over at basically the site is mdiff.net/Derek-Magnum. So that is what we got for our shorts. Go ahead.
It was an honor to be part of this, and if you could support them and support, it's just very expensive to make a movie, and if you could just check out his GoFundMe, that'd be great.
Yeah, and thanks to him, we are now award-winning producers, executive producers.
Yes,
on stuff on our IMDb. But this sending the films through film festivals is not cheap, so the GoFundMe goes towards the cost there, and it will support the movie. Again, it'll go towards the movie, and it'll go to Jeffrey. It will not go to us. We're good. We got our Patreon. Just to clarify that.
Yes.
Over to Andrew you've got something big coming up this month.
Okay, so speaking of indie film, and the future is Kickstarter, I feel like, an Indiegogo. So this is Metal Force. This is think of R-rated Power Rangers meets Stranger Things, a little bit of X-Files, Green Room, that A24 horror film where Patrick Stewart is a villain, is a neo-Nazi. No neo-Nazis in ours, but but there's a punk band in that movie and there's a metal band in ours. So that's another one I've been meaning to tell people. There's a little bit of Green Room in there. Anyway, Metal Force is a film I'm working on, and we're gonna have a booth at Japan World Heroes Convention. That's in the Burbank Marriott Convention Center, August 18th through 20th. We will have a little bit of stickers and stuff that'll be on sale, and just say hey, and we're going to officially launch the Kickstarter then. metalforce.ninja, www.metalforce.ninja. That is our website. That is our URL. If you go there, there's a Kickstarter link there as well. You can find the Kickstarter there and get on the pre-launch page and sign up for pre-launch before we launch it on the 18th. And so far, as of this recording, we got 75. So if you want to kick us up into 100, that'd be cool. And yeah, it's this is going to connect to the next slide, but it just feels like Hollywood has failed us. And so I feel like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and GoFundMe and all of these are just really great avenues for filmmakers now. And like the Bat and the Sun guy's been doing it for a while. A lot of people have been doing it, and I am gonna be part of that. So yes. With some friends. So yeah, stay tuned. Metal Force. If you like Power Rangers and Stranger Things, did you ever wish Power Rangers got darker? Did you want blood? Did you want limbs being ripped off? Metal Force.
Amazing.
Okay.
And moving on, we have our August charity that we'd like to share.
Yes. So it's the Entertainment Community Fund. This is to help starving artists. No, I mean, hopefully they're not starving, but some of them might be. People that are affected by the strike. We're not all. I mean, personally, I am too, but I have another gig that's kind of helping me out. But there's some people that don't have that extra gig, and people that aren't part of the union that don't have the strike fund. The unions have a strike fund that help support them during that, which is great. I am pro-union, but some other people, and people that I know also are affected by this that aren't part of the union. They don't get the strike fund money. So this Entertainment Community Fund helps to support them. So this is our charity for this month. Please go to entertainmentcommunity.org, and if you could donate anything, that would be great.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, please visit entertainmentcommunity.org, donate what you can, and help out those who are part of so many of these movies and TV shows that we talk about and that we know that you guys love.
Yes.
So I think that is it for the August announcements.
Just wanted to announce that I have a new podcast called Gaming Gaiden. It's about Japanese to English translation. In this first season, it will be 10 episodes each season. If you saw the ranking, every Superman video game two-parter we did here on Superhero Stuff You Should Know, you have seen Mike before. So yes, if you like video games, if you've been interested in Japanese ever, we're going to be talking a lot about just Japan in general, Japanese cultural differences as well, and we also are going to have a lot of talk about 90s video game magazines such as Electronic Gaming Monthly, aka EGM. So stay tuned for Gaming Gaiden podcast. It's already out now, y'all. I want to tell you about the patreon.com patreon.com/superherostuffpod, and on that you get the $1 tier. You can join the $1 tier, which gets you the shout out on the board, and either visually or orally, or both at times. We want to do the oral for the most part for newer people. And then the $5 tier gets you a whole new show. This show is every Monday, as you well know, and it's free on YouTube and the what's nots. And the Patreon show is every Friday at the $5 tier mark. You can, if you want, binge us for $5, and there's like 150 episodes, almost 150 at this point, and you can listen to all that content there. Even the stuff that's been released from the vault, none of that has been the full episode as well. So trying to keep our $5 tier people happy. But yeah, check that out. And then our $10 tier gets you all of the above, plus it gets you a monthly meetup show where you meet up with us monthly, and it's like a Zoom-like call, and we have a topic at hand, or sometimes videos we react to and things like that. And that's at the $10 tier. Every tier that you get, like the $5 tier, gets you the $1 tier benefits, and the $10 tier gets you the $5 tier benefits and the $1 tier benefits. So check that out at patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We also got the merch, which is Redbubble, superhousepod.redbubble.com, and on Threadless, superherostuffpod.threadless.com. Get your Bin Man and Indeed Wizard mug, shirt, shower curtains, and all the rest artwork by Stefan Santa Cruz. And please send us some audio at superhousepodcast@gmail.com. A bumper would be great. You too can be part of the show. I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Instagram and Twitter. Thunderwolf Lives is my other YouTube channel, one of my many YouTube channels. And I have also ThunderwolfDrew.com has my whole portfolio in one place except for AmanoRecon.com. That's AMANORECON.com. And that is an original idea that some friends and I are doing where it is R-rated Power Rangers meets Stranger Things. That's the quick pitch, and it is not a fan film, original idea. We have a pitch video right now on YouTube and on the Indiegogo page. We're campaigning right now as of this when this episode premieres. And this poster art is by ZacharyJacksonBrownArt.com. And check it out. Please support us on the campaign. And more from that soon. But yes, it's bloody. And if you like that kind of thing, check us out. And that's it, Ben.
Follow us on social media, on Twitter at SuperhousePod, Instagram Superhero Stuff Pod, where we have some different supplemental stuff. I've even analyzed the martial arts stance that the Keaton ornament from The Flash is in, so you can check that out on our Instagram, Superhero Stuff Pod, TikTok, Superhero Stuff Pod, Vero, Superhero Stuff Pod. My website is benwanwriter.com, where you can read a whole bunch of spec scripts, including Gotham, Vampire, Elementary, The Death of Sherlock Holmes, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, Disneyland. If you're fans of any of those shows, check them out and let us know what you think. My YouTube channel is in the description below, including Doctor Who, The Ronin of Time, an audio drama I write, edit, and narrate with the 8th Doctor meeting Miyamoto Musashi. My personal Instagram is benwanwriter. If you like cats, my son, Alfie, my cat, is at Alfie Pennyworth Cat. And if you have an Alfie yourself, then you can get the Whisker Box, the only cat box with a crazy cat lady and gent. And you can even check out another page on that website, superherostuffpod.com/show notes. That includes various show notes for each of our episodes, links to the scripts that we review if they're available online, Amazon links to the stuff we've been talking about, including, Brian Levant's book that he plugged for us, My Life and Toys. So check that out at superherostuffpod.com/show notes.
Lord have mercy, y'all. Do you like hounds? Do you enjoy pooches? Do you find yourself enjoying time spent with that of canines? Talking about dogs, y'all.
As you might have heard, Superhero Stuff You Should Know has now teamed up with BarkBox. For every month, you get a box for your special canine.
Pooches.
Or hounds.
That's right. One free extra month if you go to barkbox.com/superherostuffpod.
Follow the link and you'll get a free extra month valued at $35 and valid for all multi-length plans.
So get the BarkBox for your hound, for your pooch, for your canine.
Your doggo will thank you.
Bussy.
And welcome back. We're going to continue talking about Batfleck, starting with Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League, because that's what we mainly have in concept art. We do not have concept art for the Joss Whedon stuff. Not like we would really be interested in looking at that, but this is what we got instead. So this is specifically something that was pulled up for a deleted scene where Batman would be investigating the disappearances of people due to the parademons. It was kind of a dark sequence that was considered to be too dark, really, to make it into production, where Batman would sort of discover the fates of these people who were being kidnapped and I guess kind of converted into being parademons.
Sounds kind of sick, though.
Yeah, and this sort of thing of like Batman investigating them and shit is what this concept art is for. And I always thought this image was interesting too, because this image of Batman is actually photoshopped from a Batman Begins poster.
Okay.
That they kind of put in this like grungy environment and stuff. And it does also remind me of the first image of Bale in the Batman Begins suit, where he was kind of like in this type of environment that I think was supposed to be Arkham, the inside of Arkham.
Okay.
For Begins. But here it's supposed to be sort of an abandoned area where Bruce is investigating stuff. So I thought it'd be cool to highlight this, since we haven't really talked about, this specific deleted scene or this deleted, story idea that didn't make it in. But it's dark as fuck, and it was considered to be too dark, at least for Warner Brothers at the time, in an era where they were trying to desperately catch up to the MCU. So,
yeah,
and maybe in some ways have still been trying to since then, but failing to.
Oh my god,
this is your least favorite vehicle as well, the Nightcrawler.
So terrible, dude. You don't like this one either, right?
No. There's nothing bat-like about it.
There's nothing good about it at all.
I kind of wish it was just like a version of like the bat ski boat from Batman Returns. Like we didn't need fucking bug. Like what's up with the bug imagery with the vehicles? We got that with the Bat and Dark Knight Rises, and then we got this shit. I don't need it.
So in Ghost in the Shell, the anime, there's like spider tanks, but they're just cool. They have like cleaner white armor designs, and I think of that it's like that's so much better than this. Like, why does Batman have this anyway? I don't know, dude. It's just like, why? It's frustrating even looking at it to me.
Yeah, I get it for the sequence it's supposed to be in, but in terms of bat vehicles, it's just like it's one of those where you just don't really think about it existing after you watch that sequence.
Yeah, man. Ugh.
So then we got a bit of the Flying Fox. We've talked about this in a previous Patreon, but there's the Flying Fox in a shot that we didn't really get in the movie because we see them in costume inside the Flying Fox, but we don't really get to see them in costume together like this outside of the Flying Fox like this. So we got, Flash is kind of blurry too by the round table, which is kind of a nice little addition here and there across from Batman himself. But yeah, the Flying Fox we've kind of gone over in Patreons and stuff, but we're kind of highlighting some of the stuff that we didn't quite see. So it's almost like there's another platform or multiple levels inside the Flying Fox, which I don't really remember seeing like this, at least not a shot like this in the movie.
This is just for them to understand the architecture of it. I think. Yeah, they didn't want to like make a shot like this. I assume I don't think so. Yeah, they just wanted like a diagram.
But even this architecture, right? We never really got to see the piloting being up in the front. I mean, at the top like that. It's usually in the. I don't know. It's just it's a little different.
I don't know. It's this. It's fine. I mean that part's okay. I think.
Yeah. This was interesting, I thought. So this is concept art of parademons attacking the Batmobile, which they do in the movie, but it's almost like they're trying to pick it up and turn it over right before Wonder Woman and Cyborg arrive. And this specific type of shot, we do see the parademons swarm the Batmobiles in Batmobile in the movie, but not a shot like this necessarily.
This is a very cool shot. I do think this is cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
so I thought this would be helpful to add. And then this was something, I know you're going to fucking hate this, but I was like, this is new because there's a second Nightcrawler. So we
had two of these motherfuckers.
Yes, this is leg configuration allows vehicle to traverse at higher speeds. So I guess it splits up or there's another one, but Dan found this from Ed Natividad. And this also looks like kind of what it's some sort of piloting thing that's related to the crawler, not the Flying Fox, because I know that there's a piloting thing here, but it says crawler on the bottom left. So it kind of indicates that maybe there was some idea of it splitting, or that like at one point Batman's in one part of it and someone else is in the other part of it, like Cyborg's in the other part of it. I don't know, but I thought this was definitely something that stood out to me as I was going through it.
Yeah, I mean the diagram is okay. I don't know. I don't know. Those crawl. Yeah, it exists. It 100% exists.
It's a design.
It's a design. dude.
Sorry. Yeah, this is not against you. It's just more of because again, like he has to do what the director is asking for. So he's just kind of doing exactly what he's being asked to do. He did his job, and that's what he provided.
I mean, look at us. We're just YouTubers. We don't know anything. We're idiots. Well,
Right.
I speak for me. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe Ben does.
But even then, I'm not a huge Nightcrawler guy. But this is a. I thought this was interesting to see because we didn't get this in the movie.
I think, especially the one on the left with the legs out. If I had seen that in like a better Ghost in the Shell movie or something, I feel like I would accept it more. It's just something about it being part of Batman's arsenal. It just kills me that they wasted that energy on that rather than making a bat boat or something kind of more fun to me. I don't know, man. It's like if this shit showed up in Blade Runner or like any kind of cyberpunk kind of movie, I'd be like, all right, fine, but it's just Batman's world. It just doesn't vibe for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it also kind of ruins the name of Nightcrawler, who we, are also fans of as a superhero.
Oh, an X-Men, yeah. Yes. Well, at least it's a different company altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still we got a little bit of good Nightcrawler in the movies, but I feel like we still don't have the best. Anyway, that's a whole other fucking movie or deal.
All right. So finally, the moment people might have been waiting for: the Batman concept art, not for Pattinson, but for Affleck's The Batman. So we got concept art from Keith Christensen. We have previously gone over Keith's concept art for an unmade Batwing that continued the aesthetic. But here's some concept art for other aspects. So one of these is sort of like a knife-like batarang that sort of folds. Could be kind of cool, but I gotta say, I just prefer the one that we did get in the movies. Like I honestly really love. I'm just gonna zoom in here. I love the Batfleck batarangs. These silver ones and stuff. These like big fat ones and stuff. But Keaton's still my favorite. But like second place probably would be these batarangs and stuff. They're just really cool to me. I don't really want to replace these beauties with this kind of folding one. Sorry, Keith. Again, he's just playing around with stuff. So
yeah.
And then, of course, we have the gauntlets, which, again, look a little different from what he had in the movie and also different from the Justice League ones, which were specifically designed to emulate Wonder Woman's, forearm, armor, which, I really love that aspect, too, from Zack Snyder's Justice League, where, like, he uses it to like, protect himself, even though, like, they get easily destroyed by Superman, so I guess he needed the replacement of these. But, I mean, this kind of looks okay. It's not my favorite in terms of if I'm going to get really picky about designs and what the forearm gauntlets look like. This is not my favorite, but.
I'm okay with these. I'm okay with that, I think. I don't know. I think so. Looks okay.
I think it's just I don't know, it's the way that the blades look or the fins look.
Okay.
I kind of would prefer something a little bit more curvier.
They're too square for you?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's too square for me. Maybe I'm just used to how it looked like in other versions, or like how Bale uses it, to break the swords. And
oh man, so sick, dude.
I don't really see these being able to do that, which he should have if he's going up against Deathstroke in this. So I'm just you could have just stuck with what you had. A different design on the utility belt as well on the left, which almost looks like a W for Wayne, even though that really wouldn't make sense for him to have on a utility belt. But again, it does remind me a little bit of the Pattinson belt in the sense that it's kind of just more for utility and less about design.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, these look like just regular belt buckles for some sort of like an actual utility belt.
Yeah.
Batman utility belt.
The realism takes away some of the fun sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Which is why I'm just like, the Pattinson utility belt, I don't remember anything about it. It's just a regular belt.
Yeah. And
then on the right, we have what looks like, I guess this is the components of what it would look like underneath the cowl. I don't know if I don't think this is supposed to be some sort of Iron Man thing of how it comes together, but even if it was, I'm just like, I don't know if we need to see this.
Yeah, this might be just how they are thinking about how to piece this together after they mold it and make it. I don't know. They didn't get that far. Yeah. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit more on this cowl. Also kept Affleck's, 5 o'clock shadow for these. But I do appreciate the longer ears. I get that they were going for the short ears because of contrast from Bale and previous versions, as well as like the Dark Knight Returns aesthetic. But it does feel like like I do prefer the longer ears myself over the short ears.
Yeah, I think so too. These are pretty cool. I don't
Yeah.
have really anything to say about these.
And then this is the suit that was designed. The bat itself kind of looks a little similar in terms of the insignia to the early concept art for BVS. It does look a little bit more armored, at least more, obviously armored on the outside than, the regular suit in BVS, but maybe not as armored as like the tactical suit that we got in Justice League or the motocross suit that we got in the Flash. But I don't know. It's just I know when we had Sean Reeves of Reeves Effects on, he was talking about how like the Batman would have had Ironhead Studios from BVS work on the suit again. In which case, I would be like, well, then just bring back the BVS suit. But do we have to keep changing the suit in every single movie? Like Dark Knight Rises just kept the same suit. Of all the suits that had to continue into another movie, Jesus Christ.
The one again, isn't this Lee Bermejo's Noel suit like a little bit? Like there's a
little bit of it. There's a little bit of it there. The insignia is definitely different. The cowl feels different. Like
he changed the fat bat. Yeah, I know.
It's like Bermejo's suit looks a little bit more like leather material as opposed to armor. So
man,
like
when that
the neck is different for sure.
I might have seen an image or two. I've actually never read Noel, but I know the look because it's influenced so many movies, and it's like I just when that comic book came out, I would have never guessed that it would influence like kind of every fucking Batsuit from then on out, like in live action. I mean, maybe a little bit less in Pattinson's, but a little bit even then.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I think Bermejo's other work of Batman Damned was kind of an influence on that. I forgot what it was in the art of the Batman book, but they did cite that. So like Bermejo's been influenced. It's interesting because I think it's more of the Bermejo aesthetic than the specific comic.
Oh yeah, it's his aesthetic. It's not like an exact thing, just kind of overall vibe. Like the kind of like. I mean, I guess it still is gray.
But I also mean like influence in general too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, like remember this story? No, it's more of just like remember this art. But like nobody's really talking about Batman Damned as a story,
right?
Or Noel,
right?
Like they're just talking about the art itself.
This is okay, but it's not. I don't know. It's. I don't love it.
Down. He still had the best suit in BVS.
Yeah, the bat symbol is just kind of not great here either. When it goes into the shoulder pad like that,
yeah,
it's just like, what are we doing here? I don't know.
Yeah, like I'd rather just stick with the BVS aesthetic, or even like the one in the regular suit in Justice League. Like
right.
Why do we have to keep fucking around with this?
Just bring over the one we had.
Maybe Affleck wanted to play around more, but. Yeah, I don't know. And then I think, I don't know if there's been much else that's been released about this. Because I imagine there were other concept artists who were working on this too. I think Keith did also post some Deathstroke type of stuff that was a little different that I'll include in the Patreon. But like overall, dude, like when Matt Reeves said that he looked at the script for this, he did describe it being kind of more of an action thing or a James Bond thing. And we talked about this in recent Patreon, but not on the main show. But, like it is something that I think would have been cool to see, but ultimately not something that I miss. Like it's one of those where, it's a cool to think what if, but there's certain unmade superhero movies we go over where we're just like, man, this would have been awesome. And other ones where we're just like, thank God they didn't do that. And to me, the Batfleck movie is like right in between. I feel like I know enough to have really felt like it was a huge missed opportunity. I still think that it would have been good for Affleck to have a solo movie.
Yeah.
I just think this one, like, I don't know. I'm just not super. I've brought this up on Patreon. I'm just not super excited about Batman versus Deathstroke. I think it's a cool idea. I think Joe Manganiello is a great Deathstroke choice, but I'd also be fine with it if his Deathstroke was just in a Deathstroke movie.
You
as
feel like
opposed to him being Batman.
they're too similar in some way visually, or like the fight, it would be just two
Not
dudes with
necessarily.
similar fighting styles for 2 hours.
No, it's just to me the villain in the movie. Again, they would have to. I know that they added the stuff where like, hey, like Deathstroke is going after Batman because he feels Batman responsible for the death of Deathstroke's son, which is just like, okay, so it's basically Teen Titans, the Judas Contract, but with Batman instead of the Teen Titans.
Right.
But from what was being described, it was just like, oh, Deathstroke is like he's basically Batman's better in every way with like fighting and outthinking him. And then there was even the rumor from Humberto Gonzalez that Deathstroke was going to break people out of Arkham. And I'm like, well, isn't that just Bane? What they're describing? Like, didn't we kind of already see that in The Dark Knight Rises? I mean,
you're saying there's nothing too special about Deathstroke as in this script?
As a Batman villain. As a Batman villain, I don't know if I don't think he really fulfills anything that isn't already fulfilled with somebody who's already well established as a Batman villain. You know, Deathstroke is a Teen Titans villain who does face off against Batman, but you know, and him being a Batman villain, obviously, don't get me wrong, like that would still be intriguing in the sense that like they went with a villain that hasn't been on screen up against Batman before. I like that. I just don't think it really provides that much of a different dynamic. And again, like we don't know that much about the script, so it's one where I'm kind of just judging it without really knowing that much. But from what we do know, I'm just like, okay, like could have been cool, but also like I don't miss it. I like what we got. Like it's not something that I'm like dying to see. And I think the biggest thing that kind of tempers my excitement for it too was also Ben Affleck's own attitude towards it. You know, this is a guy who's made Oscar-winning movies, you know, who has written Oscar-winning movies, and he didn't feel like the script was up to snuff, and his heart wasn't into it, and that's what he said in multiple interviews. I'm just like, well, if that's the case, then how good could this have been? You know, if his heart was really not into even the script portion, if not just the directing portion of it. And there is a rumor from Casey Walsh that Ben Affleck wrote his own dialogue in The Flash, which would have included that damn Lasso of Truth scene. But I brought this up to you offline before, but we know at least Affleck's on record for saying that he felt like he finally nailed the Batman character in the Lasso of Truth scene in The Flash, the comedic Lasso of Truth scene in The Flash, not the more heartfelt, more character-driven scene as Bruce Wayne.
That's just him fucking around, it feels like.
In the interview or
in the interview, like why would he think that's the better scene? That scene's like
I don't know, but that's what he said before the movie was released. You know, because he could have easily not even described it, because he could have just said like, oh, I felt like I nailed the character in that one, but he actually went on to describe the scene on that. So if that's the case, that's what he wrote. You don't know about that in terms of if that's what he meant, or you don't know about that in terms of agreeing or disagreeing with his opinion.
There's just no way that bridge scene is better than his heartfelt scene with Barry. Like,
I don't know. I'm just saying,
there's no way he thinks that.
It's what's in the podcast. I'm just going.
Okay, that's just I find that so hard to believe. But I mean, whatever.
But he could have cited that. He could have been like, I nailed the character, and there's this great scene where I convey like, hey, to tell not to give too much away, but I talk to the Flash and we have a heart to heart about like our different tragedies, and that's where I felt like I nailed it. Like he could have easily said that. He didn't.
Okay.
I don't know why. But,
yeah, I don't know.
If the rumor is true that he actually wrote his own dialogue for it, including what was in that scene, then the bridge scene. Well, then I feel really mixed about it, because on the one hand, the dialogue in the bridge scene is no good, but also the dialogue's fantastic when it's his monologue in the Barry scene. So I feel once again very conflicted and ambivalent towards the idea of him having written the Batman movie, and I'm kind of just like, well, maybe it's just all for the best, so he can go on and do stuff like Air or other like movies that are not, IP big superhero movies, but stuff that he actually gives a shit about, and are ones that are different and just really high quality films. Just let him do that thing. That's what he's passionate about. Let him do it. So
yeah,
that's kind of my attitude towards this movie.
With the Batman, I said this in the Patreon, I think, but I just felt like the way they were describing it was that it was like Judge Dredd, the Carl Urban one, but Batman just going through levels of Arkham, and it was like just action with Deathstroke, which sounds fine, but it's just kind of like story wise always thin. Like some people love that stuff, I get it, just kind of not for me. So I could see why, if that's the case, I could see why Ben Affleck thought it was not up to snuff just yet. Would we have seen the fuck out of it? Yeah, Thursday night preview
sure. Yeah.
preview screenings, we would have been there in the seats, obviously, But yeah, I guess we dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah, and again, I'd still would have loved to have seen a Batfleck solo project. I've always been vocal about the idea of it would have been amazing as an HBO Max miniseries if they just did Batman, No Man's Land, Batfleck, J.K. Simmons, that type of stuff. I'd love that. I'd be excited for that. But just him versus Deathstroke, and it's gonna be dark as shit and just a lot of action. I'm like, okay, but I don't have enough information to really get excited about that idea.
I always thought that if there was a Deathstroke movie, I really think Snyder would have nailed it, just because, I don't know, he's dark and lots of great gun and sword action. It's just, I think it's a missed opportunity. I really feel like, he did good with Man of Steel, I thought, but he obviously just has his heart in dark shit, and Deathstroke's just so much darker, and I feel like, yeah, if Snyder would ever return to the DCU, I would love for, Manganiello as Deathstroke, and Snyder directed, be sick.
Yeah, I think so too. But hopefully they'll throw him a bone and have him return as Deathstroke in some way. There are some rumors he might show up in some of the either a Waller or Peacemaker project, but
oh yeah,
I don't know how true that is. That could just be wishful thinking that people are spreading around.
Yeah, there's a lot of wishful thinking.
I think
on.
That's more likely, honestly.
There's a lot of wishful thinking going on right now.
Yep. So yeah, that's the concept art for the Batman, and then we have one more thing from the Flash that we have not covered before, and that is another version of the Batcycle where it looks like the afterburner is on the side, and if Batman moves his leg the wrong way, his leg will get fried off.
And the cape can't go down at all.
Right.
See why they changed this. Also, this looks like a little, again, going like halfway between cyberpunk and diesel punk. So, if they change the afterburner to behind it,
yes.
Honestly, is it still two wheels in the front and then one wheel in the back? What the fuck is up with that?
I feel like that's just a Muschietti note. I feel like that's what he wanted.
Dude, whatever, dude.
Maybe don't do Batcycle in the Brave and the Bold.
we were so good on everything. Your Batcave,
stick to the Batwing, yeah.
Your Batwing, the suits. I guess you made that the same, but your Flash suit's good. The Dark Flash was fine. I wish it was a little bit better, but but it was more good than bad. For sure. Just the cycle, dude. He dropped the ball in the cycle, I feel like.
Oh, well. But yeah, that's what we got for the Batfleck stuff. Again, you guys can check back on the past episodes on the Flash Batsuit concept art. We have multiple episodes on it because more and more stuff has been released over the past few weeks since the movie was released. But I guess until then, that is superhero stuff you should know. Big thanks to our research assistant, Dan, for gathering the visuals for the YouTube experience, and we will have a ton more of the Batfleck concept art in the Patreon, where we always do the deepest of dives. So check that out when, if you're part of that, or please join it at, of course, patreon.com/superherostuffpod. On to the comments. So, Sam O'Hare 3178 commented on our unused Dark Knight Rises concept art episode saying, quote, if you look at the League of Shadows breathers in the finale of Batman Begins, there's a similar style to Bane's mask in Rises. I guess because it covers the nose and mouth.
They all have breathers. Yeah, no, this would have been very cool if it was closer.
Yeah.
But
I just feel like it's not close enough, really. I think it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, they hadn't even gotten to the Dark Knight yet at this point, you know, like they weren't even thinking about Bane. It's cool that there's at least an air breather in the movie, but I feel like they're kind of grasping at straws here, trying to say it's the same as Bane's or similar.
Now, if Bane literally just had this the whole time in Dark Knight Rises, then I'm like, okay, sure, like that's a cool connection. But
Or when it got
yeah,
knocked out by him in the third act by Batman, and he pulls
mm.
out, like, it would have been cool if he pulled out this exact mask as a
right,
as a backup or something. That would have been kind of cool. Like, oh
yeah,
damn, there it is.
yeah, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Sam, I don't really see it. But appreciate the comment nonetheless.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Peter Dawson left a comment saying, "Hey, superhero stuff you should know. I think you should do a video series about unused ideas from the Fox X-Men film series, a 13-parter, I guess, from everything from X-Men 2000
Woo! That's a
through
lot.
the New Mutants 2020, which I haven't even seen.
I haven't seen New Mutants either, dude. People said it was not good.
Yeah. The source is from List of Cut Content, X-Men Movies Wiki, fandom. You like it, right? And then any response afterwards. So this is our response, Peter. Sorry, I took a week, I guess, but you know, there's a lot of comments to go through.
We're doing
I
it
think,
on the video though, so here we go. Go ahead.
yeah, yes. So look, I mean, we do love X-Men. We just haven't covered it yet, and there's a ton of cut content from a lot of these movies to cover. I don't know if we would be a 13-parter like that. I don't think you're really proposing a 13-parter. It's just in 13 parts in that wiki article. I think it'd be worth doing. We would just have to make sure that everything that's in that wiki is accurate, because I've always had a problem with fan wikis that anybody can edit it, and so somebody can make some shit up of just like, oh, there's like a love scene of Wolverine and Magneto that they throw in there, and just it's not actually what happened. So I would have to make sure that everything there is actually verified. Like, there's some stuff that I've seen. I think the most famous really is the Wolverine. You know, the alternate ending shot of the Wolverine of the yellow mask. You know, like that's the most famous
man.
one. Yeah,
yeah.
That's for sure thumbnail material. Hint, hint, Dan. When we get to that, but the everything else is stuff that I kind of like vaguely know about, like certain alternate endings or deleted scenes, but. You know, we'll take a look into it when we get there. There's obviously going to be a lot more of an X-Men resurgence soon, too, of X-Men 97 coming out, as well as Deadpool 3, bringing Hugh Jackman back for the final time, at least we think, in the yellow suit. So
this could, if we did a 13-part, this could be like after our Superman Lives, after we
right.
hit that milestone.
Maybe
so
$400 a month, then we'll do X-Men.
Yeah, then we'll do all these.
Yes.
Well, this is maybe even more than that. Maybe at the $500, $600 one.
Yeah, this is 13 parts. All right.
Time to bone up. Yeah, look, I'm a huge X-Men fan. Saw the cartoon first air in the 90s, man. When we interviewed the Leewalds dude, quick sidebar here, but they had mentioned that the pilot had come out like around October, and there was nothing for like months after, and people were going nuts. And it jogged my brain, like, oh my God, that's right. I watched that pilot over and over for a few fucking months because they didn't have anything else for a while. And like they eventually, of course, the season launched. I guess I don't know when it was, January or something. It was like a little bit after. But it had garnered like a really big response, bigger than they were expecting, and like I was part of that. So and I've been rewatching them lately too, and they do hold up, I think. Yeah, anyway, long story short, love X-Men, and it would be cool to branch out into more X-Men stuff eventually, for sure.
Yeah, but thanks, Peter, and yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Last one is from GX Base Media on this is a comment on one of our older episodes on Batman Forever. Was it really that bad? Was the title on that when we reviewed it. So GX Base Media says Keaton Batman was basically a Tim Burton self-insert, socially weird, awkward loner, doesn't have much to say, and not what you described as athletic. I think Keaton fans are mostly guys that identify with this, so they want Batman to be this. By any other standard, though, Kilmer was a better Batman in every way. Physically, his performance and the way he was written, He was as close to the animated series portrayal as you can get, and even Bob Kane said he was the favorite. I don't know if that's really the best source. Shoot, even if you watch Batman and Robin, although the overall tone is campy beyond belief, Bruce Wayne, not Batman, was still written better than he was in Burton's movies. Okay, so
everybody has their opinion. I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, it's not a wrong opinion.
right.
It's not exactly mine. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, this is interesting too because we are Keaton fans, obviously, and we talk about his version the most. But there's also an element here where I'm just like, I don't entirely disagree with him. You know? Like it is one where there are definitely aspects of Schumacher's stuff that is more accurate to the comics or more, in line with the standard portrayal of Batman compared to Keaton's version. And one that explores the character a lot more than either of the Burton films. Like I've said before on the show, like Keaton's monologue in The Flash about like how, he's constantly out there in the hope that, the pain will go away and his parents will come back. That's a lot more character exploration than we got than either of the Burton films on his take on Batman and stuff. Like I think my affection for those films is on, of course, like bringing the Batman aesthetic to life in a way that hasn't been topped when it comes to, the Anton Furst stuff, the Danny Elfman theme as well, the Batmobile, even like Keaton's presence in the suit, of course, thanks to, Carl Newman and Dave Lee and Sean McCabe is like basically to me like the ultimate creature of the night portrayal of Batman.
Yeah, that's what I vibe with.
Yeah, I vibe with that.
Yeah.
That's also why I think I've said in that episode, like I think Kilmer portrays a better Bruce Wayne, but Keaton's the better Batman in the sense that like Kilmer is the more traditional Bruce Wayne of like, oh yeah, like I'm the playboy, I'm the businessman who's looking out for everybody. I'm the guy who's the philanthropist. I'm the guy who's looking out for Dick Grayson, and I'm the hero. I want to make sure that he doesn't, get in harm's way. All those aspects, and plus the trauma that's part of the Schumacher cut. But in terms of in the suit, I think he's still, I think he's still good. But there's something still about how like Keaton's in the suit of that creature of the night type of aspect that I miss.
It's the overall style of Burton too, Keaton's just, well, for me more so in '89, but just like the whole fucking movie, dude. Just every line, what everybody says, the use of the smoke bombs too, use of the smoke everywhere. There's such an atmosphere in the shots, but also in the editing, and I don't know, man. It's just hard to replicate that style. Like
for sure,
Burton's style was just so ridiculously good. Maybe that's not necessarily what Keaton did, but one thing that we've talked about before, I think Valerie Ray Miller brought this up, but she liked how you kind of couldn't tell what was going on in Keaton's head. Like he was like almost kind of aloof, but like purposefully aloof, as like it's very interesting how he did Bruce Wayne and like with Bale, when he's Bruce Wayne, you can pretty much tell, unless he's like, in the public and doing the whole, spoiled kid thing. Like, but when he's with anybody else, you sort of know what he's thinking, which is fine. It's just different.
It's for that take, yeah.
Yeah, but with Keaton's Bruce Wayne, it's like you don't even know what the fuck is going on behind his eyes. What is he even thinking about?
Right.
He's mysterious. He maintains a lot of mystery even as Bruce Wayne.
But funny enough, I think Mike Mignola said something similar about Kilmer.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, I you know what? They are kind of similar.
Yeah.
They do have a similar vibe because Kilmer's like that. It's like I feel like he's in all the movies he's in, he kind of has that going on a little bit.
Yeah, which I think made him a great choice, to be the successor to Keaton on that. But I think the one aspect I find that's underrated about Kilmer and Affleck, since that relates to this episode that we're doing, is the fact that I think both of them really had a good balance of playing Bruce Wayne and Batman, where there was like you saw enough of the differences, but also like both had ways of playing the characters where like they were both really good takes on both. Because I feel like there are other interpretations where the actors are stronger in one aspect than others. You know, I personally like Keaton and Pattinson in the suit more than I like them as Bruce Wayne. And I like, you know, say Bale as Bruce Wayne better than I do as Batman. But I feel like Kilmer had a nice balance of both. I like him in both parts. With Affleck, nice balance of both, outside of the lasso of truth scene. But nice balance of both of Batman and Bruce Wayne for this that I think is kind of underrated or underseen. And again, that's my personal preference too on that. Other people might think that, you know, Keaton does a better job of that balance or Bale does a better job of that balance. But for me personally, I've always thought that, like, hey, when Kilmer plays Bruce Wayne, he feels like Bruce Wayne. When he plays Batman, he feels like Batman. Similar thing with Affleck. Whereas, you know, Pattinson's version is deliberately supposed to be, like, not really conveying Bruce Wayne, but is kind of just Batman without his mask on, without his physical mask on.
You know, yeah.
So it's kind of deliberate in that sense.
I thought about this while we're doing this episode too, though. Like both Pattinson and Batfleck are both burnout Batmen, but just different types of burnouts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they have very similar arcs, actually.
Yeah. So, but everybody gave Pattinson shit for being a burnout, but strangely, I guess everybody was just tired of giving Batfleck shit and just like, you know, turn a new leaf with him, and they didn't really, I don't know, they just like didn't like the casting, but once they got over that, there was like no complaints about him, you know.
Yeah.
But he was still kind of a burnout. Well, you know, it depends on the person, but you know what I mean. Just I'm speaking generally, I guess.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, this is interesting. But thanks, GX Based Media. Again, like, I don't really disagree with what you're saying, but also, like, this is kind of just our opinion as well on this. You know,
yeah,
Kilmer is underrated. I think that's what we can agree on.
Oh man, Batman Forever, underrated, still underrated.
Yeah, indeed. All right, and with that, on to the shoutouts.
Oh man, we're gonna start with Tita, Sketchcraft, Kyle B, Darren P, Devin, Titbout, Renee V, and JP F. Thank you, everybody, for being on the board and being our Patreon supporters. And we have other supporters here. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everybody up here on the board. And please join the Patreon at patreon.com/superherostuffpod if you, too, would like to be on the board and at the $5 tier to get a lot more content, over 180 episodes at this point. And I guess that's it. We've told you about our friends, and now we'd like you to do us a favor.
We want you to tell all your friends about it.